You were nice enough to let Yonna and I help you sell your house, which we did pretty quickly, I might add. And I kind of wanted to take a moment and talk about those 5 R's from your perspective, from a perspective of a recent home seller, right? So if I'm going to kind of to use Jerry's terminology, I'm going to get out of the way. And I try to adjust my mask and my glasses because they're fogging up tremendously.
What did you think about that experience, Justine? Put it in perspective. Give us the flip book.
So, yeah, and actually Keith and I were sort of talking about this sort of the other day. And, I am a licensed realtor. So I could have, and people have asked me, well, why did you use Keith and Yonna to list the house? If you're, a realtor, you could do it yourself. And so, it's my personal home. I've lived here for over 20 years and raised my family here. So it's pretty, it's hard to detach, I think, into, and have this as a transaction, and which is what, I do with Keith and Yonna on a daily basis on selling other people's homes. So, so it's been really great to have Keith and Yonna sort of take the lead, and I can say, you know what, I need you guys to handle this, and it's been that's been great. So, and so right off the bat, when we started with the listing, we really, in figuring out what the price was going to be, we looked at all these other things: the location, the features of the house, the condition, and the timing, and we talked about all of those. And Keith and Yonna did a lot of research to sort of come up with a price. My house is a little bit unique, so because it's a post and beam house. It's on 8 acres.
Nice.
In Western Albemarle School District.
Good for you.
Yeah. So it's in the forest, and on the side of a hill, and so it's. Somebody who's looking who wants to live in a place like Old Trail or Western Ridge or something, it's a different market than if for somebody who's looking to live where I live out here.
I want to talk a little bit about pricing, because pricing it right, a home right, is super important. Of course, everybody wants more, right? Everybody, our job is to maximize the amount of money, the amount of money that you can receive, that you can net at the back end. But it's very important to price it right, because if you price it a little way too high, your viewership drops down. People stop seeing it. So the key is to hit your viewership goes up about 30% if you hit it right on the spot. So how did you feel that we did through the pricing thing? And I'm going to let Jerry talk to you, because I got to fix this.
Sure.
Mess.
Yeah. Talk to us about pricing, and I got a question for you too, Justine.
Yeah. So we actually had a lot of discussion about pricing because my house is unique. It's post and beam house. It's 8 acres in Western School District. So there are pros and cons, but we're near Batesville. Location had a lot to do with it, and we've been here for 23 years, but it was hard to find comps because there isn't really anything like it. So Keith and Yonna really did a lot of sort of market analysis and houses, with garages, without garages, and square footage to really come up with a price. And we went a little higher initially. We went a little higher than what they recommended, but they said, okay, we'll give it a shot, and we did ultimately make a price adjustment and to where they told us initially we ought to be, and then we had a contract very soon after that. So. Yeah, so Keith is right.
I love it. Okay, let me. Can I throw this to you?
I wish my daughters were watching.
You're in a unique position, and why you're in a unique position is because you're in the game as a realtor selling your home, and you also have a extremely strong, like all of us do, emotional attachments to your house. So can you take us through that crossroads of being in the game, but also This is where my kid took their first steps and brought their friend home for prom and, walked for you know what I'm saying? Because I'm already seeing it with my wife. And we haven't been in this new spot that long. So how about that crossroads with a lot of homeowners that are watching that are also struggling with this same mindset? Because look, I was having this conversation. I look at it, and maybe it's because I'm an insensitive person. Sometimes my wife says that. I look at it like
Mrs. Miller, you're correct.
I look at it like it's a structure. Yeah. It's bricks. It's a place to sleep. Where she looks at it as like Trey walked there and had Christmas there.
Right.
So we always start our first conversations off with a seller, and they always want to go to numbers. We actually start our conversation off on moving the mindset from a house from a home to a house, right? So your wife it's a home.
Yeah.
It's a house to you.
For me, it's not even a house to me.
Well,
okay, it's an opportunity for return on investment.
So it's a house.
All I look at
it's a house.
And you can call me.
You're a heartless bastard. You know that.
That's all I look at it. She does not, and I have to respect it. Yeah. Let's get Justine's perspective. Your thoughts on this, because this is something that comes up all the time.
Yeah. So it's been a struggle, and I've kind of gone back and forth. Getting it ready to sell. Because I'm in the game and because I see, a lot of this is what we do. I see things in my house that you might not see. And so it was kind of easy for me to be, I had to calm myself down a little bit and like, nobody else is going to see that, and when Keith and Yonna, before we listed it, they came through and they walked through with me. They were like, wow, it looks great. It looks really ready to go. And I thought I had a bunch more work to do. And I was like, oh, okay, great. We're looking good. So there's that piece of just being, a professional and knowing what needs to be done to sell houses. But so it's also my home, and it's where,
a couple of decades.
We've lived for 23 years, and Alex, our youngest, he's never lived anywhere else. Rosie was just an infant when we moved here, and Madeline was about 2 when we moved here. So it's their home, and
you're getting a little. It's bittersweet for you. Yeah. I can tell, even right now through Skype. I can tell that it's an emotional moment for you, right?
So all real estate is emotional.
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely. Time for change, and it's the right time, but it's also, this is our home. But the home inspection, when people come in and they start nitpicking your house and say, oh, what about this? I'm like, look, this is a great house. We've lived here for 23 years, and, that was hard. And so I had to, buck up and, kind of let Keith and Yonna take the reins there, because